Dorian stood on the edge of the spaceship's hatch gazing at the planet below Zaloth. Was a world unlike any he had seen before from space. It looked peaceful, a quiet sphere of blue and green covered in dense forests and towering mountains, but Dorian knew better. The planet was far from peaceful. It was a world of ancient mysteries, filled with stories that only the bravest explorers dared to whisper, about a world ruled by the alien queen whose presence alone was said to drive anyone who looked upon her face to madness. Ready to land? Asked Alara, Dorian's co-pilot. Her voice was calm, but Dorian could hear the nervousness hiding beneath the words. She had been on many missions before, but Salaf was different. Yeah, let's do this, Dorian replied, his voice steady but his heart racing with anticipation. He had come to Kaloth with a team of 5 humans hopping to find rare artifacts and perhaps learn something about the lost civilizations that once inhabited this strange world. But for Dorian there was something else drawing him here, something more than just the search for treasure. It was the Queen. According to the legends, the Queen was a being of immense power. Her very existence had been a secret for centuries. All the major species in the galaxy had heard the stories, and all had avoided the planet, fearing the unknown. They said that anyone who tried to approach her and saw her face would never be the same. Most didn't survive the encounter at all. Some said the Queen's gaze was so powerful that it could tear a person's mind apart. But Dorian had heard something different in his dreams. He had heard the Queen calling to him, her voice soft and inviting, as though she wanted something from him. It was a strange feeling, one he couldn't explain. As the ship descended, Dorian's thoughts wandered to the Queen. What was she? What was this power that made even the bravest of creatures fear her? And why was she calling to him? These questions weighed heavily on his mind. Alara brought the ship down slowly, and the team prepared to disembark. The ground was solid, and the air was thick with the scent of damp earth. They stepped out onto the planet's surface, feeling the weight of history pressing down on them. The forest around them was quiet, too quiet. There were no animals, no birds, no insects, just the silence of a place that had been untouched by time. I don't like this, said Cade, one of the younger crew members, his voice barely a whisper. It feels wrong. Dorian nodded, his instincts telling him the same thing. Something was off about this place, but they had come too far to turn back now. They had to find the Queen. They moved forward through the thick forest, the trees towering over them like ancient guardians. The path was narrow and winding, and the air grew colder as they walked deeper into the heart of the wilderness. There were no signs of life anywhere. It was as if the entire planet had gone to sleep, waiting for something or someone. We're close, Dorian said, his voice firm. The Queen's presence was stronger now, more real than ever before. He could feel it in the air, a strange energy that made the hair on the back of his neck stand up. The ground beneath their feet started to change. The trees grew thinner, and the air grew still. The path ahead opened into a vast clearing. At the center of the clearing stood a massive stone structure, ancient and worn by time, but there was something more than just age about it. The stones seemed to hum with energy, as though they were alive. Dorian felt the Queen's presence more strongly than ever before, almost as if she was watching him, waiting. The crew stopped at the edge of the clearing, eyes wide in awe. The structure before them was unlike anything they had ever seen. It was neither a building nor a monument. It was something more, a place of power. And in the center of it, all Dorian knew was the Queen. This is it, Dorian whispered. The team exchanged nervous glances, but there was no turning back. Now he stepped forward, the others following closely behind. They had come this far, and now they would face the Queen. The stories had warned them about her, but none of them truly understood the dangers they were about to face. As they crossed the threshold of the clearing, the air grew heavier. The ground beneath their feet vibrated with an ancient force. The Queen's presence was undeniable now, and it was as though the entire planet was holding its breath. Dorian felt his heart race, but he didn't stop. He knew that he had to face the Queen to learn whatever secret she held. And maybe, just maybe, he could understand the strange pull he had felt all this time. The Queen's face hidden behind a veil of mystery loomed closer with every step. As the team stepped deeper into the clearing, the strange energy of the place wrapped around them like a thick fog. The air seemed to hum with a silent force, vibrating with power that Dorian could feel all the way down to his bones. The trees were no longer present here, only massive stone pillars that towered over them like ancient sentinels, guarding the way forward. Each step felt heavier, as if the ground itself was trying to stop them. But Dorian couldn't turn back now. He had come too far. The path ahead was narrow, carved into the stone, leading them straight toward the heart of the clearing. At the end of the path, the Massive structure stood in all its strange glory. Its walls were covered with symbols that Dorian didn't recognize, alien markings that seemed to shift and change as though they were alive. Behind him, the rest of the team was equally nervous. AR's footsteps were soft, hesitant. Cade kept glancing over his shoulder, his hand hovering near the weapon at his side. Even the others, who had been part of countless space missions, were unsettled by the power of this place. I don't like this, Cade muttered. It feels wrong. It's like the planet is watching us. Dorian felt it too, that strange sense of being observed. It was as if something or someone was waiting, but what could it be? It's her, Dorian said quietly, looking ahead. He had heard the stories, and now standing here he could feel the Queen's presence in the air around them. The legends were true. Her power was undeniable. The team fell silent, each of them feeling the weight of the moment. They had come to find the Queen, to learn her secrets, but none of them had expected to feel this overwhelmed by her presence. They had heard that others, alien races and brave explorers, had come to Kaloth seeking the same thing, and they had failed. No one had been able to get close to the Queen, and no one had ever dared to face her. And yet here they were. They reached the stone platform at the heart of the clearing. The structure before them was like nothing Dorian had ever seen. It wasn't a building in the traditional sense, but more like a temple or a monument, a place built to honor something greater. There was a vast throne made of smooth, dark stone at the center, surrounded by strange markings that seemed to glow faintly. The air here was still, but the energy was almost suffocating. Dorian could feel it press against his skin like the very air was alive. We're close, Dorian whispered. He took a step forward, his breath coming faster now. The Queen's presence was stronger than ever, and Dorian knew she was near. He couldn't explain it, but he could feel her waiting. As he moved closer to the throne, something shifted in the air. A soft whisper, a voice like a breeze, seemed to echo in his mind. Come closer. The voice was soft but commanding, and Dorian's heart skipped a beat. The Queen was speaking to him, calling him closer. The voice seemed to wrap around him, inviting him to come to step into her world. It wasn't the voice of an enemy, but of something ancient, wise and full of power. Without thinking, Dorian took another step, and the ground beneath his feet seemed to give way. He stumbled, but he didn't fall. The others had stopped behind him, frozen in place. Dorian turned to look at them. We need to go forward, he said, his voice steady, though he could feel the unease in the pit of his stomach. She's waiting. Ara stepped up to his side, her face pale. Dorian, this isn't safe. We've heard the stories. People have gone mad just being in her presence. We have no idea what we're walking into. Dorian looked back at her, his gaze unwavering. I have to do this. I can feel it. She's calling to me. She wants to speak to me. A low growl came from Cade. This is madness. No one has ever gotten close to her and come back sane, but Dorian didn't listen. He had heard the call, and it was as if every cell in his body was telling him to follow it. Slowly, he moved closer to the throne, and the team reluctantly followed. The stone beneath their feet seemed to hum with energy, the very air thick with anticipation. When Dorian reached the throne, he stopped. The Queen was there, but not in a way he had expected. She wasn't sitting on the throne, nor did she appear in any physical form. Her presence was everywhere around him, inside him, like a wave of energy that flowed through his mind and body. The voice spoke again, clearer this time, though it still seemed to echo from everywhere and nowhere. You are the one who came, the one who heard my call. Dorian's heart raced. She's real. He thought, she's truly here. He could feel the weight of her gaze. Even though he couldn't see her face, he could feel the power of her mind watching him, waiting for him to make the next move. I've come to learn, Dorian said, his voice low but firm. I want to understand. Dorian stood frozen, his heart racing in his chest. The Queen's presence was overwhelming, filling the air with an energy that seemed to pulse and hum around him. He couldn't see her, but he could feel her, powerful, ancient, and very much alive. Every part of his being screamed to move forward, but at the same time, something inside him told him to stay still. The Queen was watching, waiting for him to make the next move. The rest of the team stood a few paces behind him, unsure whether to follow or step back. Ara's face was pale, and her eyes were wide with fear. Cade clenched his fists at his sides, his grip tight on the weapon strapped to his back, though he had no intention of using it. This is wrong, Cade muttered, his voice barely a whisper. We shouldn't be here. No one's meant to approach her. Ara placed a hand on Cad's shoulder. We can't turn back now. Dorian's already in it. We have to stick together. Dorian didn't respond. He was too focused on the feelings swirling around him. The voice of the Queen, soft and distant, echoed once more in his mind. You seek knowledge, the voice whispered, more like a breeze than sound. But there is a price to pay, there is a ritual, a test, you must be prepared. Dorian could feel her presence surrounding him, and as the voice faded an unnatural silence descended upon them. Clearing, it wasn't the silence of a normal forest, it was deep, heavy, and complete. Not a single sound could be heard, no birds, no wind, no rustling. Leaves, just a thick, suffocating quiet, even his own breath seemed muffled as if the very air had swallowed it. What's happening? Alara whispered, her voice trembling. I can't hear anything, it's like the world has stopped. Dorian's eyes widened as he understood what was happening. This wasn't just a physical silence, it was a ritual. The Queen had initiated it. The voice in his mind spoke again, this time more forcefully. In order to bond with me, you must prove your worth, you will not speak again until the ritual is complete. No words, no sound, only silence. Dorian's heart pounded, a sense of unease crawled up his spine. The Queen was testing him. Testing his ability to endure. He had no choice but to obey. He glanced at his team, signaling for them to remain silent. They all looked at him, their eyes filled with fear and confusion, but they knew, like he did, that there was no turning back now. If they wanted to learn the secrets of Salaf, they had to follow the rules of the Queen. Without a word, Dorian stepped forward, moving toward the center of the clearing. As he did, he felt the weight of the silence grow even heavier, pressing down on him like a physical force. Each step seemed to stretch the moment, pulling him deeper into a trance-like state. He felt the air around him become charged with energy, every nerve in his body tingling as if they were awakening to something beyond normal experience. His team followed closely behind him, moving as one, yet each step seemed to make the silence more intense, more suffocating. The ritual demanded they remain silent, yet the tension among them grew as they neared the heart of the clearing, where the Queen's power was strongest. The stone pillars around them began to glow faintly, their ancient carvings lighting up with a soft golden light. The ground beneath their feet seemed to pulse with energy, like the heartbeat of the planet itself. Dorian could feel the power of the Queen growing stronger with every passing moment. His mind raced, but his body obeyed the command. No sound, no speech, just the silence that seemed to stretch endlessly around him. As Dorian reached the center of the clearing, he could see the throne more clearly now. The stones that made it were etched with symbols that seemed to shimmer and shift as if they were alive. The throne itself was empty, but Dorian could feel the Queen's presence all around him, as though she was observing him from all sides. The voice of the Queen echoed once more in his mind, now gentle but filled with a strange power. Do not fear the silence. It is the key to understanding. Only when you can hear without sound will you truly know what it means to listen. Dorian closed his eyes, focusing on the silence. He could feel the energy around him swirling and moving, but there were no words, no thoughts, no distractions. It was just him, the Queen, and the deep, resonating silence of the planet. The silence lingered in the air long after the ritual had ended. It was no longer oppressive, but instead carried a sense of calm and clarity. Dorian stood in the center of the clearing, his mind still echoing with the quiet pulse of the planet. He could hear the faintest whisper of wind, a sound that felt like a welcome return to reality. His senses were sharper now, more alive than ever before. The rest of the team slowly gathered around him, their faces filled with awe and uncertainty. Alara was the first to speak, her voice low but filled with wonder. What just happened? I don't understand. It felt different. It was like we weren't even here, like we were part of something much bigger. Dorian took a slow breath, his eyes still focused on the stone throne. The Queen showed us something deeper than just what we can see. The silence, it was a test, a way to teach us to listen, to feel what's beyond our understanding. Cade frowned, clearly still uneasy. But why did she do it? What does she want from us? Dorian turned to him, feeling the weight of the question. He didn't have all the answers, but something had changed within him. During the ritual, he could feel the Queen's presence more clearly now, like a thread of energy, connecting him to something ancient and powerful. I think she's trying to teach us something that goes beyond knowledge, but I can't explain it yet. We need to trust her. R stepped closer, her voice hesitant. Do you think she's going to speak to us again? Dorian nodded. Slowly, he felt the pull in the air, like the Queen was still with them, watching, waiting. It was as if the very planet itself was holding its breath, waiting for the next move. Just as the tension began to settle, the voice of the Queen filled Dorian's mind once again. You have proven yourselves worthy of my knowledge, but there is more to be learned, much more. Dorian's heart quickened. He could feel the Queen's words not just as a voice in his head, but as a powerful force that seemed to resonate through his entire being. The Ground beneath him trembled ever so slightly, as if the planet was alive responding to the Queen's call. I will offer you a gift, the Queen continued, her voice both gentle and commanding. A gift that will change your understanding of the universe, but be warned, once you accept it, there is no turning back. The path ahead will be dangerous, and only those who are truly prepared will survive. Dorian swallowed hard. He could feel the weight of her words. The Queen was offering them something extraordinary, but at a price. The decision weighed heavily on him. This wasn't just about exploration or finding treasure anymore. This was about understanding something far greater than they could imagine. He turned to Aura and Cade, searching their faces for answers. Aura looked uncertain but determined, while Cade seemed more reluctant, his hands still clenched at his sides. What do we do? Alara asked quietly. Dorian felt a strange calm wash over him, a confidence he hadn't known before. He knew what he had to do. We accept. We've come this far and there's no turning back now. Cade hesitated, but after a moment he nodded. I'm in. Whatever happens, we're in this together. Dorian turned back to the empty throne, feeling the Queen's gaze on him. We accept your gift, he said aloud, his voice steady. There was a long pause, and for a moment Dorian thought nothing would happen, but then the stone pillars around them began to glow brighter, the symbols on them shining with an intense golden light. The air crackled with energy, and the ground beneath them trembled once again, this time more violently. Dorian's heart raced, but he held his ground, feeling the pull of the Queen's power deep within him. Suddenly, a soft, warm light appeared before him, swirling and shifting like liquid gold. It took form, slowly shaping itself into a glowing figure. The figure was humanoid, but there was something different about it, something otherworldly. It was as if the very essence of the Queen was manifesting before him, but not in a physical form. Instead, it was an embodiment of energy, pure and untainted. The figure's eyes, though not visible, seemed to look directly at Dorian. This is the gift I offer you, the Queen's voice whispered. A bond with the essence of Steloff. With this bond you will see the world as I see it. You will feel the pulse of the stars, the life of the planet, and the energy that connects all things. But remember, this gift comes with great responsibility. Dorian felt the energy from the figure reach out to him, wrapping around him like a warm embrace. He didn't fight it. Instead, he let it flow through him, feeling the connection grow deeper and stronger with every passing second. It was as if he was becoming one with the planet, one with the Queen. The air in the clearing felt different now, lighter yet filled with an unspoken weight. Dorian stood still, his mind racing with the flood of knowledge he had just received. He could still feel the power of the Queen coursing through him like a river of energy that flowed from the planet itself. The connection was real, and it was unlike anything he had ever experienced. His team stood around him, eyes wide and filled with curiosity. They had felt it too, that strange shift in the air, but none of them could fully understand what Dorian had just experienced. Ella stepped forward, her gaze intense. Dorian, she said softly, her voice filled with awe. What just happened? What did she give you? Dorian blinked, his mind still settling from the rush of visions and energy. She gave me the essence of Steloff, he said slowly, as though testing the words. I can feel the planet's heartbeat, its life, its energy. It's like I'm part of it now. R's eyes widened even further. Are you saying you can hear the planet? You can feel everything? He nodded, still feeling the tremors of the gift, the vastness of the knowledge and power now at his fingertips. Yes, it's overwhelming, but at the same time it's beautiful. Everything's connected, each star, each planet, every living thing, and I can feel it all. Cade, who had been standing at the back, crossed his arms and looked skeptical. So what now? We're just supposed to accept this gift and carry on like nothing's changed, like we're not walking around with the power of an entire planet in our heads? Dorian turned to Cade, meeting his eyes with a seriousness that wasn't there before. This changes everything, Cade. The Queen didn't give me this power just for us to play with. It's a responsibility. We're connected to Steloff now, and I believe we're meant to protect it. Cab shook his head, disbelief written all over his face. Protected? How do we even begin to understand all of this? I'm not sure we're ready for what's ahead. Dorian understood Cad's concerns. They had all come here with a single mission: to explore, to learn, but now everything had shifted. The knowledge they were gaining wasn't just academic, it was life-changing. Zoth wasn't just a planet to study anymore, it was something alive, something sacred. We might not be ready, Dorian said quietly, but we have no choice. The Queen's words were clear. The path ahead is dangerous, but it's the only path we can take as the weight of Dorian's words settled on them, the atmosphere around them seemed to shift again, the air grew cooler, and the light from the glowing pillars dimmed. It was as if the planet itself was waiting for something, waiting for them to take action. Without another word, Dorian began walking toward the stone structure at the center of the clearing. The rest of the team followed hesitantly, their footsteps soft against the ancient stone. The path seemed clearer now, as though the Queen's gift had given Dorian the ability to see beyond the physical world. He could feel the pulse of energy beneath his feet, a hidden current that led the way forward as they moved deeper into the heart of the clearing. The ground began to rise, forming a staircase of smooth carved stone. It was an ancient path, one that had been hidden from the world for centuries. Each step Dorian took brought him closer to something greater, something that felt both terrifying and beautiful. He could sense it now, a force that was guiding him, urging him forward. R's voice broke the silence. "Where are we going?" Dorian glanced back at her. The Queen spoke of a place of great power. I think we're meant to find it." Cade frowned, his hand still resting on his weapon. "This doesn't feel right. I'm all for exploring, but this feels like we're walking straight into the unknown." "It's not about what feels right or wrong anymore," Dorian said, his voice steady.